As you heard, Pivotal Property Fund listed on the JSE this morning. The lady with the lungs is the Chief Executive, Jackie van Niekerk, and she's joined by her Financial Director, Aaron Suckerman, who is in studio with us, both to discuss the listing on the exchange this morning. Lady and gent, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the listing, first of all.
Thank you.
The timing is one of interest. Why now, especially after we've seen a real boom of property companies listing on the JSE this year?
I think it's not following the trend of what the other listings has done, is by taking opportunity of consolidating a lot of portfolios that Pivotal has brought an opportunity for the listing. We thought opportune for this year for the listing, and also for taking Pivotal in the consolidation with Pivotal Forward, enabling us to have a bigger balance sheet, and then also driving the growth for our shareholders going forward.
So let's move over to you and talk about the price, the listing of the price. I mean, on Friday we also had Sirius, although they were listed on the Altex coming through. Tomorrow we have another listing coming forward. So what price are you hoping to get today? What price did you get in at?
Well, look, I think it's obviously a difficult one to call. I mean, we were trading at 20 Rand just now, so I think you know, our purposes, we brought our original shareholders in at our net asset value. We're quite happy with the interest that we're seeing now in the market, and there's obviously a lot of demand for good quality stock with great growth prospects. So time will tell exactly where we'll close at, but we're quite pleased with what we're seeing at the moment.
What will the capital be used for? Because you've taken a very different strategy. You've really been very acquisitive before the listing. So with the capital that will be raised now, your plans with that?
We're going to use that to conclude one of the bigger transactions, which will be for cash, and we'll also use to pay down a small portion of debt, but really to conclude one of the bigger transactions, which are properties we acquired from Standard Bank.
You were talking about using a different strategy, offering value to shareholders. What kind of exposure would an investor have here? We're talking about office space, we're talking about residential. Give us an idea.
Our portfolio composition makeup is very much a 50-50% split between retail assets and commercial assets. And I think also what is a big differentiating factor between Pivotal and the other listed is we're not listing as a REIT, but as a development-focused fund. We will not distribute out any dividends or distributions out, but retain the capital to reinvest into future developments. So our focus is not so much in acquiring assets, but into future developing assets. So for a shareholder coming into Pivotal is going forward is more focusing on the capital growth of the fund instead of the distribution growth of the fund. So that is very much our focus that we will be focusing on.
You mentioned development, and Sandton has been a hot spot of developments when you take a look at the office space. Which particular areas or markets are you targeting?
Our market is very much the office space. We've been very successful in Alice Lane in Sandton with a precinct of in excess of 70,000 square meters we are busy completing by 2017. So we are focusing on office parks. We know there is also a lot of supply, but I think it's a differentiating factor in the product that we deliver, and not only just an office space for our tenants. So it's office park space with a differentiating factor and really bringing the home and the lifestyle element into our office parks. So that is very much will be our focus. It's been our focus, and we will continue doing that going forward.
Will it be isolated to Sandton, or are there other nodes that you're looking at?
The nodes we are looking at is Pretoria, very closely located to Gautrain stations. We really believe that the success of the Gautrain station is to be closely located to the Gautrain to give more accessibility for our office users, other than just in a decentralized node.
So office space, not looking as though it's very saturated at the moment, or saying it's not a concern. Gauteng, Pretoria, where else are we looking at?
Well, we have Africa ambitions as well, rest of Africa. So we're currently under a MOU for an acquisition in Lagos. It will be a commercial building there, and we will continue to develop the nodes locally where we've been successful, and we've got current parks, and roll out the rest of the phasing of those parks. But we do see that future growth will come from other countries, and we're going to exploit those opportunities as well.
Well, there's definitely a lot of opportunity in the rest of Africa, and we know Nigeria definitely. But tell us about the level of difficulty. Yes, you have an MOU in place. Are you finding it rather difficult to to get into that market?
Well, fortunately, this transaction, the development's commenced. So a lot of the initial work in securing the land and ensuring that the title is in fact in place has already been done. So Pivotal is coming in at this point, but we will look to develop out and acquire land, greenfield and brownfield developments.
And also I think it's very important that the strong ties that we've got in Pivotal with Abland and also Abland Africa and other partnerships going into Africa. Well, Africa is a very big space, as you've just said, but partnering with other peers and partners in the property industry just makes it so much more easier going into Africa and finding the right opportunities to exploit and also develop further up in Africa.
You also have another segment to your business, which is the retail segment. The anchor tenant agreements have been something that's been in the news quite of late. Does that have a potential benefit to you, or where does that leave you as a property developer?
Well, look, your anchors in most of our centres, you know, we deal with most of the big anchors, and we have good relationships with them. So it's really very dependent on what we're doing and where we are to see what anchors that we do bring in. On a new development, we'd usually partner with anchors that we've done business with before and ensure that we have significant foothold in our centres. So if you want to...
Yeah.
So,
and anchors that keep on performing alongside you. So it's very important from our point of view is also to bring the product level to our customers, because that's the reason why they come and shop at our shopping centres. It's because of the product offering. So it's very much partnering with our anchors and ensuring that the product delivery that's in store, as alongside with the building that we deliver, coincides so that our shoppers do come and shop at our shopping centres. So that's very much the strategy that we follow in terms of anchoring with our the anchor tenants, with our tenants.
What's keeping you awake at night as the CEO of this company? You know, retailers at the moment, we were just speaking earlier, the likes of Tiger Brands, Woolworths are looking for action from Eskom with regards to load shedding. This is going to impact your business. So what else is keeping you awake?
Absolutely. We've gone through this before in 2008, load shedding. We've fortunately to have future-proofed our buildings in terms of having this necessary backup supply in terms of generators. Keeping us awake at night is just to keep the fundamentals of the business always and not getting to this big fund mentality, but really sticking to the business and ensuring that the development pipeline keeps on rolling out as we've planned. So very much keep us awake, but also we've got a great team, not only in Pivotal, but through the Abland and the other partnerships. I keep on saying back partnerships, but we really built this business over a lot of years, and I think having those partnerships, keeping it together, that will keep continuing delivering the growth that we need to deliver.
Speaking about partnerships, it was interesting to see Mark Wayner downstairs during the listing. I mean, you say Mark Wayner, it's prominent with property overall. Has he played any influence in the business?
I think so. As a board member, he's brought a wealth of experience and knowledge to the board, so we absolutely value his input and his presence that he's got on the board.
I know I keep going back to African expansion, but I do have an affinity for Kenya. So we've spoken about Lagos, we've spoken about South Africa. Are we looking at the east of the continent at all?
It's very opportunity dependent, and it's also where our development partner Abland is going to set up a presence, because all the properties will be developed by Abland in partnership with local developers. So it really dependent on opportunity and where we feel that you know, Abland will be able to come with us to those regions. But we haven't specifically excluded any countries at this point.
Just on that, will the listing play part to the capital raising initiatives to aid the expansion on the continent?
Correct. Not the capital raise that we did now, but going forward, once the projects start to roll out, we would look to come back to the market and raise capital to further our development opportunities and development ambitions.
Well, I thank you so much for making the time to join us again. Congratulations on your listing today. That thanks to Jackie van Niekerk. She's the CEO of Pivotal Property Fund, and the company financial director, that is Aaron Suckerman.